Hello, everyone. I'm Shamri Alam.
I'm Sean Yen.
I'm Matthias.
I'm Geetanjali.
And I'm Shayan Hamidi Deshal.
And our presentation is on the ethics of deepfakes.
Photo manipulation has been around since 19th century and applied to motion pictures too. During the 20th century, the technology has been improved and video deepfake technology has been out, and it is using by academic researchers. And in 21st century, the technology has been adopted by entertainment industry and many amateurs. So deepfake is a manipulation of facial appearance through deep learning. The term was first used by a Reddit user of the same name and shared pornographic videos that used face swapping technology. The deepfake replace people's face using a facial recognition algorithm and a deep learning computer network. The network is trying to encode images into low-dimensional representation and then decode those representations back into images. The term has since been used to include any like AI-generated media existed before the term and also after.
Social engineering. The internet has been a very good source of information, but it has a lot of disadvantages as well. So, social engineering refers to the manipulation of individuals or in groups through physiological tactics to deceive victims in divulging sensitive information, providing unauthorized access, or performing actions that may compromise the security.
Despite many methods presenting for generating fake content, artificial intelligence has been the most effective and looked upon technique. Machine learning gives us an opportunity to automatically create fake but accurate and indistinguishable content, making their detection an almost impossible task. Machine learning consists of main components: input, model, prediction, output, and error. Supervised learning contains all the pipeline components. However, unsupervised technique only consists of input and model, focusing on the final model. The model can leverage common metrics or an external error metric to tune itself. The unsupervised structure is appropriate for implementing fake generators. Generative models, in the role of an adversary on the left, are fed with a random vector as input and produce data corresponding to the output range. The initial outcome could be noisy and unrealistic. However, with the feedback and the discriminative model, the outcome can be more realistic gradually. The discriminative model, in the role of a detective, is a supervised classifier trained on an original set of output data. It has an accurate outline of realistic fake content, and it can respond accordingly. Generative and discriminative models are the two components of deepfake technology, and the performance of the whole system depends heavily on the interaction between these two models, also the validity and diversity of the data set and hyperparameters. With the emergence of the neural network, many models implement multi-layer connected neurons to achieve the maximum performance. The structure is built on a single neuron composed of inputs and output, a nonlinear function, a bias, and some weights. The output of the nonlinear function on the linear combination of inputs and weights make up each neuron's output layer. The training phase tries to find the optimal values for the weights and biases for each neuron through a backward propagation process. The neural network is the backbone of our discriminated and generative models. Since there are usually many layers with numerous connections to the former layers, they are named deep neural networks related to the deep in deepfake. By putting together neural networks, generative and discriminative models, we come up with the foundation of deepfake architectures, generated adversarial neural networks. The discriminator is trained on an original input, having an aggregated error on the generated content. The error helps the generator as a feedback, since the discriminator's goal is to maximize the error and find the unnoticeable mistakes in the content. However, the generator's goal is to minimize the error, so it can dilute the discriminator. Therefore, we apply a reverse operation on the error before it functions as a feedback for the generator. The feedback cycle keeps repeating itself, each time improving the fake results. We can stop the cycle in two ways. First, after a predetermined number of epochs. Second, lowering the generator's error below a threshold. Also, the initial input vector should be relevant to the input domain, which results in a quick conclusion of the fake content generation cycle.
So deepfakes can be used in good ways, like in movies, games, AI avatar, and virtual try-on, where you can try your like hair or clothes. But just like any good things, it can have malicious uses. It can do impersonation, fake news, financial fraud, deception, and social engineering, because you can just change a person's face. So it's very easy to spread like fake news and false information.
Generally speaking, the malicious uses of deepfakes come in 3 steps. The first step involves the scammer gaining access to photos, audio recordings, and or videos of an individual. This often comes from social media, movies, or other public information. The intended victim is not always the person in the video, picture, or recording, but the deepfake can also cause harm to them as well. Step 2 of the deepfake scam involves the scammer creating the deepfake from the collected data. They use the GANN to create a model of an individual's voice, their appearance, etc. And then the model is used to create a fake photograph, video, or voice recording. The deepfake often involves the victim engaging in illicit activities or someone they know in a threatening situation or giving false information. Step 3 involves the scammer attempting to contact the victim. They will send the image, video, or voice recording to the victim, and the scammer will either try to trick the victim or directly threaten them. Some examples of this are extortion scams, where the attacker threatens the victim's reputation, the kidnapping scams, where they threaten someone the victim is close to, or a fraud scam, which tries to impersonate someone that the victim knows.
Case study 1. So these are some of the examples of how the deepfake works. These are the real life scenarios. So this is the first case study. A criminal gang is operating in a tourist location, conducts fraud scheme against the victims using synthetic image videos to depict someone in a situation of captivity. It can also be kidnapping. So they use these images and information in online, or they can also use it from a stolen device. They could contact the family of target and demand some ransom by showing the proof of victim in a hotel, possibly blindfolded. These attackers could also send some follow-up image to the victims so that they can pressurize more on the victim's family to pay the ransom. The victim themselves would not be in trouble, or completely they are unaware of this place. Case study 2. This is the second example of how the deepfake works. Chinese satellites could capture image of Antarctica and the surrounding ice sheets. They use AI ML models to create the features that make it appear that ice has increased. They use this generated satellite image to convince the UN to to delay or cancel the implementation of strict climate agreements that would be favorable towards their side. If unsuccessful, they could use these fake data to dispute the need on these agreements and ignore the environmental restrictions such as greenhouse gas emissions. This could cause huge delays and confusions and undermine the global agreements. Case study 3. This is the third example. So a woman attempted to damage the reputation of cohorts of her daughter, who were her competitors for a very limited spot in cheerleading squad. The deepfake video depicting the target engaged in criminal activity is produced and sent to an individual in the position of authority over the target activities. So based on these videos, the authority restricts or removes the target from participating in certain activities. Case study 4. A tech-savvy supporters of candidate A could launch a misinformation campaign against candidate B. The attackers could also take an advantage of audio, video, and text deepfakes to achieve their objectives. Individual audios or video deepfakes are likely to create more sensational headlines and grab people's attention. The threat of the deepfake lies in an ability to permeate the information without necessarily raising alarms. So through these, people will not get to know whether the deepfake photos are true or false, and they'll blindly believe the candidate A and they'll fall for it. So these are some of the case studies.
So to prevent scams as seen like in the case studies, there are several things that you can do to be careful. First is that you should be careful about who you accept friends requests from on social media. Then you should also be aware of how deepfakes can be used to create impersonations. You should know the methods that the scammer can use to trick people with deepfakes. And if a scammer has already contacted you, 1, you should end all communication with the scammer. 2, you should never give in to the scammer's demands because they may ask for more in the future. And 3, you should contact authorities and people who can help. And as deepfakes become more advanced in the future, there will be increased confusion about whether certain sources are reliable. This is known as reality indifference. Deepfake detection technologies are fortunately being developed to counter this problem. And one example can be seen here.
In conclusion, scammers combine psychological manipulation with complex deepfake technologies. They prey and exploit on individuals' trust and emotion to get what they want. Safeguarding against the combination of social engineering and deepfake technology is a multifaceted task. Prioritizing digital literacy and vigilance, such as realizing certain clear patterns of manipulations and following cybersecurity practices, are great beginning steps individuals can take to protect themselves. Technological countermeasures, as mentioned before, also vastly help prevent these types of scams. AI tools designed to detect and counter deepfakes play a crucial role in fortifying our defenses. And the final steps are for our legislators to create strict laws condemning and charging such offenses. By combining these elements, we can collectively build a strong defense against scams, ensuring safety and integrity of our digital world.